Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Thank you for chanting Shōshinge together. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Shōshinge service. My name is Keisuke Miyaki at the Buddhist Church of San Francisco. Today, let's focus on a sentence from Shōshinge verse, I think I could say. 用意大道逆三人 or 用意大道逆三人 is several patterns existing. But the 意大 of 用意大道逆三人 means Mrs. Vaidehi, Queen of Magadha Kingdom. Vaidehi is the only woman in Shōshinge because other persons are males or existing beyond the binary existing, like a bodhisattva or other Buddhas. That's why I wanted to focus on it. Why not? If I translate the phrase 用意大道逆三人 from classical Chinese into modern language, it will be equally with Vaidehi. Buddhist practitioners acquire the threefold insight. Threefold insight is a little bit special Buddhist term and is written in kanji as nin of ninja. Yes, that ninja. Yes, but it does not mean the top 3 ranking ninja or like a sneaking mission or a 007 type, or endure or patience is nintai or ninniku, or that means endure. So what's the meaning of the nin in Buddhist scripture? It says awaken to the truth. Awaken to the truth. That's why I think English translation said insight. The wisdom of a Buddha who accepts the fact as it is. So there are 3 types of wisdom that Vaidehi realized. First, insight of joy, which is the joy of realizing that we are able to meet the Dharma to get out of the endless spiral of life and death, life and death. Second, insight of awakening, which is to experience the Buddha's wisdom and compassion. Thank you. Number 3, insight of confidence, which is undoubtedly accepting the Buddha's enlightenment works and direct to us. For sure. There are traditionally 52 stages in completing Buddhist practices, and the stages are divided by 5 categories. They're respectively from establishing trust, I think is in Buddhism, acquiring knowledge about Buddhism, like learning history or how to read a sutra or listening in Dharma, and embodying Buddhism, making action, as a bodhisattva or Buddhism teaching is living in your life, and sharing and teaching Buddhism with others. I'm doing that right now. And achieving the Buddhist equally Dharma means I'm not in that stage, so I am Dharma. I am the Dharma, and also Buddhist. I'm Buddhist, and also I'm a Dharma. So that's not happening here, but it's that there's an achievement is existing. One of them is called Musho Bonin, one of the 5 categories, which means insight into the non-origination of all existence. It's kind of getting difficult. And it expands threefold insight, anyway, it mentioned earlier. So it sounds complicated, but don't worry about it. If you take a look at the previous and the following sentence around the part, Yoi Daito Gyakusannin, you can understand that we do not have to stick with these 52 steps or the differences of threefold insights. Shōshinge said, Shandao alone in his time clarified. When practitioners enter the great ocean of wisdom, the preminal vow, they received the diamond-like mind and accord with the vow in one thought moment of joy, whereupon, equally with Vaidehi, they acquire the threefold insight and are immediately brought to attain the essence at eternal bliss of Dharma nature. Shandao alone in his time clarified. When practitioners enter the great ocean of wisdom, the preminal vow, they receive the diamond-like mind and accord with the vow in one thought moment of joy, whereupon, equally with Vaidehi, they acquire the threefold insight and are immediately brought to attain the eternal bliss of Dharma nature. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. So it doesn't say that Buddhist needs to set specific goal, make a plan, perfect plan, and assess the method, and providing feedback and making an improvement, like studying for entrance exam of university or the job evaluation at your office. Such examination or evaluation should be the same work as hard to acquire the achievement of the stages, highest stages. Moreover, according to Master Shantao, the threefold insight is the realization for Buddhist beginners, novice, not the remarkable certificate or highest rank of honorable stage for a superior rank Buddhist practitioners. So what is the theme here? What does Vaidehi's threefold insight related to our life? Don't you think so? Yes, I thought too. Before thinking about it, let's take a look at who Vaidehi is. Like the story of novel or TV drama, if you don't know the character or their background or lifestyle, when you hear what happened in the person's life, it is just wildfire on the other shore, and it will be no impact provides on your insight or perspective. In that case, it'll be just one of the dull information. I don't want to say that, but it's a fact, which you do not have any business. So let's make relate to this story. What's happened by his life? Reading the Contemplation Sutra and Nirvana Sutra, we can see the historical blood-washing tragedy of the dysfunctional family in the Magadha Kingdom, India, about 2,600 years ago. Beyond the history, this tragic history has been remarked on many media platforms because it's easy to understand human drama with greed, anger, and stupidity, and also the Buddha's wisdom and compassion, which changed people's life, the perspective, and provided their relief from the grief. If you're interested in, please search on the Google or Yahoo.com or whatever. So with Vaidehi or Magadha Kingdom on the internet. So today let's focus on Vaidehi in the outline of the tragic story. Ending is good. Okay, no worries. Ending is good. Vaidehi is the queen of Magadha Kingdom. She has a son, Prince Ajatashattu. However, her husband, King Bimbisara, could not love his son and always lived in fear of being killed by his son, Ajatashattu, for the throne of Magadha Kingdom. He even attempted to throw Prince Ajatashattu out of the tower to kill while he was still a baby. In Prince Ajatashattu's adolescence, he met Devadatta, the Buddha's cousin. Devadatta was expelled from the Sangha, Buddhist Sangha, by the Buddha because of his attempt to make the Sangha more powerful, authoritative, and organized by law and charisma of the Buddha. But Buddha rejected it. It's not my teaching. Dissatisfied with his own fail, he tries to live by the Magadha kingdom's authority and patronage. Then he targeted Prince Ajatasattu and instigated him to make King Bimbisara imprison. By day he fell in deep, deep sadness, what the kingdom experienced, and took care of the king, kept her body applying a mixture of flour and honey on her body, and filled each bead of her necklace with grape juice, and secretly to provide the king some nutrition in the prison. Eventually, her care became known to Prince Ajatasattu. The prince exiled Vaidehi, or mother, from the royal palace and put her on house arrest, and almost killed his own mother by a sword. King Bimbisara died of starvation in prison, unfortunately. The episode of the story, how King Ajatasattu met the Buddha after this incident, became a Buddha disciple and guardian of Buddhism teaching, which is described in Nirvana Sutra. Please check it. Today, the story of Vaidehi continues in Contemplation Sutra. Vaidehi being trapped in house arrest, then directed to the Buddha's location far away and prayed for help to him with her tears and sorrow. Shakyamuni Buddha realized her grief and sent his disciple. Then he went he went to show Vaidehi what the Pure Land in 10 directions looked like. Vaidehi wished to be born in such a beautiful Pure Land with the guidance of Amitabha Buddha. And Shakyamuni Buddha explained to her about the detail of Amitabha Buddha and the Pure Land. Vaidehi was finally able to face her own life and grieve for the first time in this Buddha's realization. Looking at the Buddha who appeared in the midst of chaotic conflict in the kingdom, she threw herself at her feet, screamed and cried and expressed her complaint, anger, and resentment. She tore off her gorgeous accessories that symbolized her noble status. Upon tearing off her accessories, she finally attained the realization she had been lived in the lifestyle with totally perfectly decorating up with bright accessories, which means behaving appropriately for her origin as a queen of the Magadha kingdom or noble status, and her social status, rich and highest of the kingdom, and suffering when she cannot do so, and feeling herself worthless. Vaidehi was ashamed of herself and had a chance to reflect to herself for the first time in her life. Shakyamuni Buddha stood quietly beside Vaidehi and showed various appearances of Buddha and Pure Land and taught meditation techniques to see the presence of Amitabha Buddha in this world in her life. The practices were so difficult for her, like a simple human being like us. However, the reciting Buddha's name, Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, which Shakyamuni Buddha shared at the very end of his teaching, which relieved her from the lower self-esteem, disenfranchised grief, and loss of meaning and direction of her life. Finally, at this point, she realized that her value was not as being at the queen status of Magadha kingdom, That's not her, nor possessing her power, authority, and independence, which was allowing her to do everything for herself and everything by herself. That was not her. Through this transformation of her perspective, Vaidehi met her real self and encountered Buddha's deep compassion, which was staying close to her and waiting for her. When I was speaking to you about Vaidehi's spiritual experience in India 2,600 years ago, it may be rare to experience your spouse being killed by your own child and you being under house arrest. I hope you didn't experience it. But there is some common theme that is also relevant to us who are living in 2020. Like the message, I am here now regardless of my status or position or academic knowledge or contributions to the community, regardless of them. And also, I'm not alone. Even if I cannot see and hear others, this connection of golden chain of life always next to me. That message. I often meet homeless people or substance users at the hospital during the night shift. But many patients are often ashamed of their vulnerability. They don't want to be criticized, so they sometimes take any attitude or get deliberately anger. It's often expressed as a denial or ignorance as well. In addition, after waiting for birth of their child, I sometimes encounter sad cases where both mother and father, child, son, or both mother and child suddenly die in emergency unit or ICU. Very sad. Many are the relatives and the family member are in despair, cannot accept other supports available at the hospital, and are just plunged into the depths of sorrow. The same things happen with cases of gunshot or stabbing. Unacceptable violence takes life and human's dignity. I'm always thinking about what can I do as a Buddhist? No, just one supporter in such a situation. Just like Buddha demonstrated to Vaidehi, I would just provide a warm presence without expressing my too much authority as a care provider, without showing pettiness to them for self-satisfaction. But just listen and support the wounded heart together. This Buddha's approach is also my model as a Buddhist. So it is my favorite part of the Contemplation Sutra and the Nirvana Sutra I've read hundreds of times. The Buddha's message is telling us it is okay if you're emotionally or physically weak. In more difficult time, really important matter is more deeply transcending into my heart, your heart. It may be, for instance, what the most important things, for instance, a life lesson that your late mother had repeatedly taught to you. The presence and the connection to our family that you did not feel usually. A scripture or hymn of the sacred text. A nostalgic moment in your childhood. Or some stranger's words unexpectedly changing your view completely. That kind of a realization would happen to Vaidehi's mind. This is as Master Chantal says the awareness that only a Buddhist beginners can obtain. It is probably the realization you get at the very starting line, entrance of Buddhism, like a novice of the Buddhism. Don't you think why it is the lowest ranking awareness? It's important. Or don't you want to have higher achievement? No one doubts it is cool and powerful to learn from repeated kind of highest reputation of leadership in the best environment and to obtain the highest prestige and achievement and qualification. But in our teaching, we don't need anything like that. This sounds like a very simple thing, and it is very difficult to understand and live in it because we really want to stick that kind of proof of our sustainable value. I'm not looking down any amazing professional people. The amount of their effort to become a profession is incredible, and it would be super difficult for me, probably. And I'm sure, yeah, that they had some ambitions and a commitment in their lives. However, because it is a Buddhist vow to save, Buddha's vow to save all sentient beings, even whether you are a person who has practiced Buddhism for many years in earnest or not, whether you're a person who has a specialized profession or not, whether you're a good person or not, rich or poor, happy or unhappy, or a baby who cannot express yourself, or you have a lot of experience as adults. It has nothing to do with the teaching of Nembutsu. You might wonder, well, is it seriously okay? Are you sure with just single Nembutsu? Is it really okay without learning a lot of contributing more to community or society? You don't have to do any such vigorous effort to be a good person, good Buddhist. Well, I think it's okay to commit good deeds for others as long as the action are following the Buddha's teaching and not for the purpose of your own profit or fame. It is shown by Vaidehi. She saw her real nature and began to take the first step in Buddhism after blowing such status and fame away with Buddha's wisdom and compassion. Let's keep thinking about this Buddha's message together. Join me, Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Thank you for listening.